Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.
Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Well, welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Jean Till, and on today's show, we're visiting with Justin White, the Director of Young Adult Evangelization for the Diocese of Des Moines, and Stan Asjes, a participant at World Youth Day, a member of Basilica of St. John, and a seminarian for the Diocese of Des Moines about their World Youth Day in Lisbon, Spain.
Looking forward to that and
Yes.
sharing and the connections that we enjoyed there as well. So August, things heat up in a way, but even though the weather is tempered a little bit, thankfully, for the state fair goers, I think very pleasant for them. And so the Iowa Catholic Radio booth there, and so people are invited to stop by and continue to give a shout out and promotion to that. So
I hear the Pope is at the state fair.
He is.
Yes.
Oh, man,
yeah.
he gets around,
He
I
does.
mean, Lisbon and then Des Moines.
And
So-
he's doing a lot of selfies with folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I know what we're talking about there as well. But and of course, the turn of August, we think about the return of school year. I have been blessed to be with the good spiritual energy of our faculty and staff from the central Iowa regions, Des Moines and Creston and Perry as well, and Shelby County. Kind of a kickoff mass on Monday and Feast of Maximilian Kolbe. And then gathering and just kind of some sharing. So, man, those teachers sing. They really do. And so that they break into harmony. So I think our young people will be blessed by them. And then actually today we're with the St. Albert Catholic School folks in Council Bluffs. So it's nice to get both fronts of the diocese in a marvelous way. And
On the road again.
A lot of expectations and all are there. And then thinking about on the move, tomorrow our diocesan Eucharistic procession will begin with Mass at 9 a.m. at St. Anthony's, and then we'll process in a plotted route. The city's given approval. We'll have a little bit of, I think, escorts as well, but diverse communities coming together all the way to St. Ambrose Cathedral. So this is kind of our second year. Last year proceeding from St. John Basilica, this year from St. Anthony. So we'll be out in the grotto in the early morning, hopefully refreshing light and Jesus on this feast of St. John Eudes, who had such a great devotion and love for the Eucharist and kind of exposed this mystery that enfolds our lives in a tremendous way. Our prayers, though, obviously, as we do so, as we bring Jesus to others, those who need his healing, his protection, the restoration of hope, the people in Maui for whom we pray, and the devastating fires that are there, wiping out whole towns, obviously the loss of human life, a toll that is only going to be, I think, determined in the weeks ahead. Bishop Larry Silva, who was actually with us in Lisbon among the 60 American bishops and the 700 bishops from around the world as well. So obviously his heart was probably much more with his people, and I think he moved very quickly back to Hawaii and the island of Maui. That church of Maria Lanakila, miraculously,
Wasn't
perhaps,
that amazing?
not destroyed. The protection of the Blessed Mother and the graces that she brings in surprising and wonderful ways, even as the ravages under this veil of tears continue to beset us. We're also conscious, I think we'll probably talk about with Justin and Deacon, or not Deacon yet, Stan. I'm getting so eager here. But my first visit to Fatima, or Fatima, as they would say, but that miracle that seemingly has occurred, we're not going to declare it formally. Let's the church do her due diligence with medical officials and everything else. But the day that the Pope actually visited, August 5th, and Fatima there with a group from Madrid as well, concluding a novena of prayer. She who had lost her sight over 2.5 years ago through a debilitating chronic illness, and praying for that restoration. And she thought at the end of Mass, Lord, my prayers haven't been answered. And so in those tears, and then suddenly, lo and behold, she can see again. And so Our Lady of Fatima, pray for us, but to continue to restore and bring healing and light as well.
And yes, there are still miracles in our day and time.
Amen. There, I think we can't even begin to count, like John says at the end of his gospel, the number of things that God is doing. But this is kind of a grace time even for us in the Diocese of Des Moines, between the Feast of the Assumption and next week's Feast of Our Lady, Queen of Heaven, crowned, that coronation mystery, the fifth glorious mystery, our special patroness in the Diocese of Des Moines. And so Mary is very much with us, and we pray for her oversight and guidance.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be visiting with Justin White and Stan Asjes, both who attended World Youth Day in Lisbon. Looking forward to that conversation.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from John Leonetti, EOS Implementer, the entrepreneurial operating system, helping businesses and organizations clarify, simplify, and achieve their vision. John.Leonetti at EOSworldwide.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from Fitness by Design, your neighborhood fitness studio, located in Des Moines, offering PH or fitness classes, private and semi-private training, Beamer, and massage. Learn more at fitnessbyddesigndm.com, 515-770-3844.
Dad, how are things going in St. Vincent de Paul?
Awesome, Zoe. Our 6th Avenue, Army Post Road, and Windsor Heights locations are really busy. Steve Haveman, Executive Director of St. Vincent de Paul, thanking you for your continued support.
How can people help St. Vincent de Paul, Dad?
By donating and shopping.
St. Vincent de Paul helps everyone, even kids' lives.
Yes, Zoe, even kids' lives. Thanks for shopping at our St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores.
St. Vincent de Paul helps everyone, even kids.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. And on today's show, we're visiting with Justin White, the Director of Young Adult Evangelization, and Stan Asjes, a seminarian for the Diocese of Des Moines, and both who went to Lisbon for World Youth Day.
And we reconnect here because it was a privilege to be with you in Lisbon and there. But you preceded us in many ways. Justin White, again, Director of Youth Evangelization, Young Adult Evangelization, let's say, for the Diocese of Des Moines, and the Evangelization and Mission Team, and Stan Asjes, formerly co-host of Making It Personal in his earlier seminarian career. But the seminary didn't see that as a liability for you in your eligibility for orders as well. So Justin, this is not your first World Youth Day, was it?
No, it was.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh,
I am fully initiated now.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So you didn't really fully know what you were getting into.
No,
anyway, just from the
not.
oral tradition of others.
Exactly. Yep. Lots of anecdotal evidence from others. Lots of learning as much as I could ahead of time. But first time attending a World Youth Day. First time leading a World Youth Day trip.
Well, you had this mantle of authority about you, and of course, it didn't hurt that your wife Laura was accompanying you.
Oh man. She was the key, that's for sure. She hadn't been on one either, but yes, she's got that mind for
So is she now
events.
the young adult evangelization
yes,
person?
certainly for World Youth Day at least, that's for sure. Yes.
And her ministry to youth as your parents of 4 children.
Yes, yeah, we have our own youth ministry.
Who covered
running.
things on the home front while you were gone?
Grandparents and friends helped out tremendously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that vocation of Anne and Joachim, that we celebrate.
That's right.
Yeah, so there was a long wind-up and a lot of preparation, and we don't want to delve too much into that because we want to focus on the event itself. But just give us a thumbnail of what went into this and the special Des Moines group, which if we had them all here, it would overflow the studio in a way.
Yep. Yeah, we had just under 60 people who joined us from the Des Moines delegation. About half of those were from St. Ambrose, and the other half were from a smattering of parishes around and in the metro. And the preparation was about a full year and a half or so of some gatherings to get, just acclimated with what logistics are going to look like, to get to know one another, to talk about, what elements of spiritual preparation were needed as we get ready for this, monumental occasion. And a tremendous amount of fundraising went into it. A tremendous amount of very hardworking fundraising went into it as well. So
the Iowa Cubs are very appreciative, right?
Yes, lots of Iowa Cubs help with. Yep,
they've got it down to a science.
Principal Park, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but it just truly incredible efforts all around. And I won't lie, there were times where it was feeling a little daunting, and every time it felt that way, I would hear from one pilgrim or another of just how excited they were for the trip and how truly fortunate they felt to be able to, put forth this effort to go, and they were so excited for Fatima and things like that, and it always kind of gave me new life whenever things would feel a little down. So they're just a wonderful group overall.
Right, and a very much a cross section of the Church Universal in a way, and members of our diocese, full body of Christ, but carrying passports from other countries than the U.S.
Yes. Just off the top of my head, Ghana, Kenya, Eritrea, Burma, Myanmar, the Sudan, truly. A very diverse group of folks from all across the diocese. It was wonderful to have them all.
Yeah. So, well, and Stan, thank you. Was this your first World Youth Day?
Yes. Yep. Okay.
Same. And your other seminarians have maybe given you a little heads up on that, or things about their experience?
I honestly had no expectations going in. I didn't really have any idea what it was going to be like, honestly.
So Okay, but Pope Francis cautions in some of his earlier encyclicals, that we don't get trapped in a kind of spiritual tourism where we just, kind of let's go been there, done that, check it off, and go somewhere else, like the ugly Americans sometimes is what we're depicted as doing in this way. So, what was your mindset going in, Stan?
Well, I think that's definitely a temptation, to sort of just get all the boxes checked. But honestly, I mean, the experience of it was very, and Justin can attest to this, but it's very chaotic. There's millions of people, and you're just getting crushed into the subway all the time. And I'm just thinking of like the vigil when we were going to that, and we went to the wrong gate initially, but we walked like a mile to get, and then you can't get in here. So then we had to backtrack, and a lot of things where it'd be tempting to, just get really frustrated, and I think both of us did get pretty frustrated, but also an opportunity to just, say like, all right, Lord, we're putting our faith in you, and we don't really have any control over the situation, and that's helpful for not kind of just getting into the check the boxes mode, is when, you're really just not in control of what's happening, and you just have to say, Lord, wherever you take us, that's where we're happy to be.
You must have been praying for patience so that you could be tested.
Yeah.
And get stronger.
Yeah. So we were given opportunities to practice it.
Yeah.
There's some prayers.
Yeah. So it's not for people who become claustrophobic easily in that way.
Goodness.
And
No.
I think, in the comfort zone of space traveling together. Stan, you fast forwarded to the vigil, which is kind of the penultimate event, culminating before the final Mass on the Sunday. But you arrived earlier than many diocesan groups did. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Kind of the opposite of the vigil was the week ahead of World Youth Day proper, when we were able to be part of a program called Days in the Diocese, where we were placed, just our group of 60, were placed with host families in a kind of rural area, a very rural area, truth be told, about 15 minutes out of Fatima itself, which was itself a wonderful blessing. And we ended up
about 60 miles north.
Yes, roughly.
Lisbon.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we got to just spend the week ahead of World Youth Day experiencing the hospitality and beautiful spirituality of this little town called Arrabal, and just really getting to know those people, being fed by them a lot, by them so much.
Literally?
Physically and spiritually, fed by them, and just really getting immersed in the culture, and it was a truly wonderful experience. And like I said, being that close to Fatima was wonderful, whereas so many pilgrims probably only got one trip up there if they were lucky. We got 3. We had to go there again and again and again, and not usually with crowds. I mean, one of our trips with my host family was at like 12:30 in the morning, like after midnight. They said after dinner, let's go back to Fatima.
Yep.
And we're like, yeah, let's go. And it was just beautiful to be able to just go back, again and again. It was really, really beautiful.
A kind of preliminary vigil in the watches of the night, the Chapel of the Apparition, which is open in many ways, kind of reflecting Mary and the Church's openness to people. Yeah. Stan, you had mentioned, too, your family was waiting for you when you came back after the clock had already struck midnight.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't turn into a pumpkin. So,
well, the hospitality was just so beautiful that this community, they had been preparing, I think, for like a year, where they're getting ready and planning it all out, and it just blew us away, honestly. One night, we would stay out pretty late.
Yeah.
And by the time we got back to my host family's house, it was, I think, already past midnight, so I went and washed up, and then I was heading back to my room, and I passed the kitchen, and my host parent, the parents of my host family in there, they were cooking.
Yeah.
And I kind of poked my head in and said, "Are you guys cooking right? Why are you cooking?" And they were like, "Well, we didn't have time today, and we need to feed
because
you
we've
tomorrow."
seen how you eat. That's why.
Exactly. So, but and they were just cooking at 1 a.m. to feed us. And so I said, okay, well, I'm not going to bed. I'll keep you company, hang out. And they're like, all right, have a beer. And then, we just sat around and cooked, and it was really touching.
Truly that culture of account prior to the large scale, obviously, which awaited you on Lisbon. I was appreciative that there was the opportunity to go back as I arrived, the second week that you were there, but to go back to Fatima and to spend the day together with many of the group, not everybody. Thanks to Father James Downey at Dowling Catholic, Father Raphael Sama from St. Teresa's, and we had our own little mini group. We weren't trying to separate ourselves from the group, but some of them wanted just more time to pray and hang out. So we did go through the village and saw, all the sites where Our Lady appeared to Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco. So all that was there. So my first visit, it was misting most of the day, as although Mary was kind of enfolding us in the graces that were there and to celebrate Mass that we came to. So things get going and they really heat up in Lisbon, and people come in waves, a city of hills, up and down, not for the faint of heart. No. There were very few people talk about using the metro, but one better be prepared to literally be on the Camino in town as well. What was kind of the opening moment that maybe struck you?
So just the opening Mass, truth be told, was really wonderful. Both that and the welcoming ceremony for Pope Francis. I think it was the welcome ceremony that they estimated some 800,000 people were crammed into the, mini Central Park that they had there in Lisbon. And one of the moments that really struck
I don't know what your scale of mini is, but I mean, we think about the Living History Farms, I think truly on that scale, probably, yeah.
Well, just looking out at the crowd and seeing all the flags, I think was one of the moments that it really kind of hit home for me of just how representative this gathering was. I mean, I certainly have never seen that many flags from all over the world before, and to have all of them there, chanting, we are the youth of the Father and things along those lines was just a really, really wonderful experience. And that's, I think, at the welcoming ceremony for the Pope, where it really kind of, opened my eyes of, wow, this is a big deal. There are a lot of people gathered here with the Pope. It was wonderful.
Did they say it was every nation, I think every nation but one in the world?
Except the Maldives, I believe is what I saw, yeah.
Well, what would they got a better offer or what?
Right. What are you guys doing, right?
And so, certainly well over 200 flags, if not more, and, you think about the opening for the Olympic Games, but this is opening of a kind of a spiritual celebration. And the electricity is the Holy Father comes in procession. This 86-year-old pontiff, my goodness, though his sciatic and other things are debilitating, that you wouldn't know once he starts speaking. And he draws from the energy of the young people and the love that was obviously outpoured, but the people of Lisbon, too, turning out. So,
we always talk about young people. This isn't like NCYC. This isn't high school kids. These are truly young adults.
Right.
Typically in college or out of college already, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure, because someone just asked me this last week. It's like, you'd let your high school kids go? It's like, no, this is...
Yeah, when the Vatican says youth, they tend to mean what we mean by young adults, typically.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Which is, I think, God speaks to us at all ages, obviously, with the young children of Fatima. But I think, that time in 18 to 22 and then perhaps post-university, so much is happening that really begins to crystallize one's sense of vocation and encounter. Obviously, we're concerned that many begin to kind of withdraw, or maybe disaffiliate, the nuns, as we speak of, as well. But here are people who are unabashed in their living of faith, drawing energy, and maybe some mixed motives by some, but for all, it's just this experience of communion, experience that the Holy Father is representative, that truly vicar of Jesus on earth, and this presence of being close to Him, being close to God, and so that message of unconditional love that the Father bears for all of us, and the pageantry that was there. What was Deacon Stan, you were literally supporting your brother. You were supporting your brother, Dominic Nguyen, at one point. So he could get a good glimpse of things. You have a few inches on him. Yeah. So
the Pope Mobile was coming by, probably I was like 50 feet away from us. It was pretty close. But of course, everybody rushes up to the barrier to be there, so it's hard actually to see him. So Dominic's a pretty light guy, so. We on his shoulders and got him up there. Yeah, took some photos.
You looked around and couldn't find anybody to hoist you up.
Kyle,
he was
maybe.
looking for you, Bishop. But
yeah. So he passes through the crowd and on this uniquely arranged stage, which we didn't know all the dimensions of how that was going to be enlisted, But the music, obviously contemporary music and other things mingling with the sacred. Meanwhile, the bishops, and I tried not to get trapped in the bishop bubble in a way, but they did look after us, the poor shepherds of the church, but viewing, we could capture part of it, but not see everything that was going on in terms of the scale. It was just beyond what the eye could see in that way. So that's, the welcome on Thursday night. We continue with catechetical sessions. Did you have any experiences of these rise up sessions, either one of you?
Yeah, we on the last Rise Up were able to get everybody to the same one in St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas was where we had our Mass.
Yeah.
St. Catherine's.
St. Catherine of the
where
Mount.
we had the Rise Up.
Yeah.
And the sheer
Archbishop
beauty.
Naumann from Kansas City,
Yes.
Kansas, was the main presider of that session. Yes.
And this emphasis on God's mercy, God's forgiveness to everybody was just so wonderful to see, in this beautiful church with all these people, standing in sitting room only throughout the entire place.
And this was
really
just
wonderful.
one site among hundreds.
Hundreds, truly, and just packed to the brim. Yep, It was wonderful.
And obviously our Eucharistic Lord was available. The messages both from Bishop Nestout of Richmond, Virginia, Bishop Fernandez from Columbus, Ohio. I was back in the sacristy with 4 other priests hearing confessions, and all I'll just say is it was a profound experience.
Nice.
It was the incarnating God's mercy in that way, and so that connection between the Eucharist and what people experience in the liberating power of the keys. So, and that flowed into the Stations of the Cross. Anyone who was able to be there. On Saturday, on Friday.
Yeah, it was very good. It was kind of, they did it in multiple different languages, and I didn't really have the interpreter, so I took what I could get. But it was very moving.
Yeah. So, and maybe more on that, but an artistic troupe that, I'll be honest, a little bit, okay, here we go, kind of avant-garde and everything else, but suddenly I was drawn into it. And
if you let yourself get into it, it was good,
a 3-story stage, and, the suffering, the anguish of young adults, represented and reflected back in all those Stations of the Cross.
Well, we're going to find out more about World Youth Day when we come back. But if you'd like to learn about the young adult evangelization in the Diocese of Des Moines, go to dmdiocese.org/young adult ministry. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahans strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahans, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
St. Vincent de Paul helps so many people.
You're right, Zoe. St. Vincent de Paul Executive Director Steve Havman here. We are serving over 32,000 local residents with food, clothing, furniture, and financial assistance annually. We invite you to learn more about all of our life-changing programs that positively impact so many Iowans by simply Googling St. Vincent de Paul of Des Moines. Our mission is to help those in need become self-sufficient through education, community connectedness, and unconditional support. Help us, help others.
Even kids!
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
And so kind of artistic, and it wasn't Cirque du Soleil, but in many ways on the stations. But I think Stan, talking with you offline here, the authentic self and not the virtual self, and the ways in which we present a face, but in the face of Jesus is Veronica wiping his face on the way of the Passion, and that even though there's profound suffering, this is also our joy to know the closeness of a God who accompanies us. We had an opportunity with a little more intimacy on Saturday, and that kind of unfolded in a providential way.
Yeah, we were able to kind of change our time for Mass a little bit earlier in the day so that we could get to the overnight vigil site, but truly gorgeous church that we were able to be at is St. Nicholas there in Lisbon.
Which is a bustling parish church and a soup kitchen that feeds 300 people every day. So this wasn't just a kind of historical museum piece, right?
No, and that was one of the amazing things about all these churches. I mean, these are thriving, active churches, like you said, not just historical, centerpieces or something. And we were able to celebrate Mass there, which was really, really wonderful before heading off to the vigil, the overnight part of things.
Yeah, and we were wearing vestments worthy of Father Pichut at St. Augustine.
Yes.
I think he would have been okay with what we had, and Deacon Francis Chan was joining us along with the priest that I've already mentioned. So, and our group was joined by others who just latched on to us. So again, this openness and hospitality that we received, but that we could extend to others. And then the trek, which was not a seamless trek. There was some wandering in the desert going on, perhaps. Stan, what was that like for you?
Oh, well, we were, with 56, we weren't really able, I don't think, to go all as one. It was just, that would be impossible just because of the crowds. So we were with...
About 20 or so?
Yeah,
you and I? Yeah.
We were in a group of 20, and there was some miscommunications in the messaging from... Overall, the organization of World Youth Day was very good, but we were a little bit misled, and we went to the wrong gate. But it was like a mile and a half, probably.
Yeah, so there's about a mile and a half of wasted walking, so to speak, from a strictly practical outlook. Wasted
Put
walking.
those in your step bank, okay?
Yes, exactly. So we had to backtrack there, but honestly, what was truly incredible, part of my frustration in that moment was almost anticipating frustration from the 20-some people we were leading and going, all right, they're probably getting real upset, and they weren't. It was incredible. The spirit of the pilgrimage was so much stronger in our pilgrims than it was in me, and
it was really
I'm
cool.
saying, I'm sorry, guys, we got to walk back, and everyone's kind of said, okay, no problem. And I thought, whoa, okay, I guess, and it helped me kind of, stay in that pilgrim mindset of embracing what we're there for, even in the setbacks and whatnot. It was really beautiful.
Okay, so Parque Tejo, is going to be converted into a park, but along the river there, and the Vasco da Gama Bridge, spectacular span there. So quite a jewel of a setting. And as the sun began to set, unfortunately, you did not have sight lines where things were.
No.
I mean, so much turf had been claimed in a way.
Yes.
So this was as much an act of faith, right? Not by sight, but trusting. Faith comes through hearing. You could hear things, but that same artistic troupe was there, I think, depicting a very different kind of message about first being countercultural, but then bringing others along in this, in terms of the communion of the church, and the Holy Father taking all of that in as the sun set. And again, our Eucharistic Lord was at the center of things. How was the night? You slept outside under the stars?
It was we were packed in like sardines.
We really were.
Yeah. But also what was nice was that all the hosts for the Mass the next day were already consecrated. The Eucharistic Lord was there in each section. And so there's a little tent. And so we could actually pray and adore the Lord through the night in a more intimate way, right? Not just watching him on the screen. That was actually...
And then to wake up with 1.5 million of your closest friends,
That's right.
feeling
And some
far
really
as the eye
loud
can
techno
see.
music.
And the Father DJ who was
Yes.
kind of rousing you in the morning.
We woke up to the earth shaking.
Truly.
So again, the graces we pray spill out and can carry over, but thank you for sharing this pilgrimage and now truly the life of living this as we go forward. So appreciate your presence today.
Thank you.
Stan and
Thanks,
Jessica.
Bishop. Yeah.
Well, this has been another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Thanks to our guests and to all of our listeners in Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, or wherever you may be listening to Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.